everyone. Welcome to Academic Time Management, How to Increase Productivity in Less Time and Get Your Life Back with Dr. Chanel Smith. We are thrilled to have you here. I would like to start with a few housekeeping items. The chat feature is disabled. This session will therefore conclude with a question and answer session, and we ask that you would use the Q&A feature down below to ask your questions. Live captioning is also available for each of you. And now I want to introduce you to our webinar speaker, Dr. Chanel Smith. She is a New Testament scholar and author, a doctoral expert who's been an active member of SBL for more than 15 years. Thank you so much, Dr. Smith. I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you for having me, and hello to everyone that I cannot see. So I wanted to give a special thanks to John Kutzko, the Executive Director of SBL, as well as LaToya Leary for all of your help in putting this together. So some housekeeping. Copyright. All rights reserved. No part of this publication may be reproduced, distributed, or transmitted in any form or by any means, including photocopying, recording, or other electronic or mechanical methods without the prior written permission of the publisher, except in the case of brief quotations embodied in reviews and certain other non-commercial uses permitted by copyright law. And also by way of announcement, if you want to write some things down, if you are a doctoral student or a prospective doctoral student, please join the Doctoral Tribe on Facebook. There are over 400 scholars to be on there, and it's a great community. And also, if you are on social media, that is my handle. And lastly, if you are on YouTube and you want to get some free trainings or anything like that, please follow me here or subscribe to the channel. All right. So are you ready? Please get rid of distractions, silence your phone, have a pen and paper or your computer in order to take notes. And if you need any snacks, now's the time to get them. I want you to get the most out of everything that I have to share with you today. And again, if you have any questions, please put them in the Q&A feature and I'll address them at the end. So welcome to all of you, whether you are master students, doctoral students, all of you, deans, whoever might be on here. This training is for you. It is for determined individuals who want to get a handle on academic time management by learning how to increase productivity in less time so that they will finally have time to actually live their lives. It's for you if you want to audit your schedule, so that you can not only get a handle of your time, but also have a better quality of life without the guilt or the constant worry about what you should be doing. You desire to have more time to enjoy life while you earn your doctorate and or do what is required of you in your profession. You are ready to stop running out of time, missing deadlines, and feeling overwhelmed. You want to begin transforming your mindset and maximizing your schedule so that you can breathe easier and put more you in your life. If you can relate to any of what I just said, then you are in the right place. How many of you like Scandal? I know I can't see your responses. There is no chat feature, but I loved this show, right? With Olivia Pope, and you have Fitzgerald over there. So work with me here. Imagine that Fitzgerald gets an educational grant, right, from the Lilly Foundation for $1 million. So he's on one of his visits to an institution to discuss the grant, do a photo op, and engage a new cohort of graduate students. He says he's decided to give $1 million to the first person who can successfully earn their graduate degree while living their life and enjoying their life, basically. You have to have weekly check-ins, right, to show your schedule, your action plan, proof of your progress, the activities you've planned for fun and relaxation, and your level of productivity in relation to the amount of time it takes to get done. There's also a camera crew to capture your journey and to make sure you're doing what you're supposed to do. How would you approach this? Now, from my 10-year experience as a doctoral expert, there are two different types of personalities and how they will approach this competition. Here's the first one. Patricia, the pretender. pretending she's doing all the things, right? Getting things done the way, like she's ahead of the game. I know how she would handle this. But she is already bouncing her knee, biting her nails, listening about the competition. She's distressed about how she is going to make time for her family when her studies have always taken time away from them. She's also stressed because she's trying to figure out how she can do this on her own because she refuses to ask for help when she needs it. And her school just gave her the whole list of their institutional guidelines, right, for her program that she needs to do to earn her degree. She is overwhelmed. She's always struggled with how to manage her time, how to strategize her work. She says to herself, this is utterly impossible. What type of competition is this? Right? So stuck like a deer in headlights, she is paralyzed by overwhelm, thinking about how much time she is going to need to dedicate to her studies, pained at how she will squeeze time in to spend time with her family, even though she knows she's not going to be fully present. There's so much to do and to consider that she can't think straight. So she says, you know what? I'll think about this later. It's too much. And she's always been this way. Right? When things get to be overwhelmed and she's too stressed, she just begins to procrastinate. She doesn't want to do anything. She doesn't trust herself. A few times, she even almost gave up what she was doing or quit. Can you relate to this? Any of this? Right? Then there's Portia, the producer. Here's how my clients approach the competition. Out the gates, she is texting her significant other, telling them they are about to get paid, right? She's so excited. She scheduled a family meeting for that same night to discuss the competition, the type of support she will need, including time, energy, and money and other resources. She got on Amazon and already ordered a prioritization calendar to get her schedule right. She's always had systems in place and put together a team of support. She always says, why reinvent the wheel, right? When others have done it successfully and can train her. She has always taken the initiative. She looks around the room and internally thinks, y'all are going down. She is effective, maintains a life-giving daily schedule and protects her time, such that she has increased productivity in less time. She has clarity and direction. She constantly is achieving her goals. She's calm and motivated. She knows exactly what she needs to do. She strategizes her way through the program. Her time management skills are on point. She accelerates in terms of mindset and speed with ongoing accountability and graduate support. And she is well rested and less stressed. Notice I didn't say stress-free. There's always stress in a doctoral program, but she's less stressed. And look, she's smiling, y'all. She's smiling. I had a client recently tell me, I am breathing again, right? Portia has time to simply be and to enjoy her life while she earns her graduate degree. And she wins this competition. She completes her program 6 months to a year faster than the average graduate student, all while maintaining a healthy, fun, and exciting lifestyle. If you are in this webinar, more than likely you are doing things like Patricia. It's very common, very common. Patricia is stressed out while Portia is living her best life. If you want to earn your graduate degree in less time and stress, and increase productivity in less time so that you can actually live your life while you earn your doctorate, you need to be operating like Portia. And all of these characteristics are the points in my 4-part method of Accelerate Your Doctorate that I teach to my private clients. So which one are you? Are you Patricia, the pretender, or are you like Portia, the producer? Most graduate students, and dare I say, faculty can relate to Patricia, right? How are you approaching and handling your graduate studies or profession? I can't even say that word today. My clients come to me exhibiting traits like Patricia, but as we work together, Portia's characteristics begin to form and take root. My name is Dr. Chanel T. Smith, your favorite doctoral expert and founder and CEO of Chanel T. Smith Consulting. I help doctoral students successfully navigate through the various stages of their program with clarity, purpose, and strategic direction so that they can accelerate through their programs, enjoy the process, and live their lives while doing it. I also help prepare them for the job market. Now, I don't just work with doctoral students, I also work with master students who are discerning or applying to doctoral programs. And yes, I've also had faculty as clients who need help auditing their schedules, right? Creating strategic action plans for all the things they need to do, to tenure portfolios, as well as those simply needing accountability and support. And lastly, I work with institutions to help decrease attrition rates by providing workshops and trainings for their students and faculty, as well as consulting services regarding retention and recruitment solutions. I am the creator of the Accelerate Your Doctorate method, a method that I've used to help my clients successfully accelerate their doctoral programs, having a healthy mindset with less stress and with more time to enjoy their lives. And by the end of this webinar, you will know how to audit your schedule, increase productivity in less time, and shift your mindset so that you can live your life while you earn your degree. Now, what about me? This is the glow up, right? From a doctoral student beginning my doctoral studies on the left with a 6-month-old. That's how it started. So when people ask me, how did you do it with the kid? I didn't know how not to do it with a child, right? That's how I began, to then graduating, earning my PhD in an overall time of 3 years and 9 months when my second son was 8 months old, to getting my full-time professorship before I graduated and publishing my first monograph, to now living out my calling on my own terms as a doctoral expert. It has truly been a wonderful, wonderful journey. Yes, there have been highs and lows, but I have enjoyed the process. The reason why I started my business is to demystify the doctoral process. I have seen too many doctoral students and faculty colleagues overly stressed, ruin relationships because they have no time. They have to take high blood pressure pills and even have strokes. But what I always say is you do not have to die to earn a terminal degree, pun intended. I believe that there is a new, healthier way to do a doctorate and to be in the profession. Can I say that word? Profession. Help me, Latoya. And I am committed to showing as many people as possible how to do that. It is truly a blessing to do what I do every day. So here's your agenda. In this webinar, we will cover how to prioritize yourself and those you love in your schedule, how to audit your daily schedule, how to prioritize tasks, maintain and protect your schedule, how to increase productivity in less time, how to embrace a new mindset shift, and next steps and gratitude. You will also have an opportunity again to get your questions answered. So you made a great decision to join us today. Hopefully something that you hear in this webinar will help you to decrease your level of stress, increase your productivity, and persuade you to invite me on your educational or professional journey. I want to begin with a study case. Tamla Wilson earned her doctorate in less than 5 months after being stuck for over a year. She came to me when she was ABD, struggling with being organized and making the best use of the time that she had. She kept falling behind and her schedule was jam-packed. Being a mother of 2 kids, she's an investment banker who traveled often. She needed help with maintaining momentum. So what we did was work on her schedule, skim the fat, created an action plan, and journeyed together. She is now the Reverend Dr. Tamla Wilson. And the second study case I want to share with you is Nicole Smith, who earned her doctorate in 6 months after being delayed by a toxic committee for over a year. When we started, she had a one-year-old son, struggled with managing communication with and the expectations of her committee. She lost an entire year going back and forth with them about her project because they kept changing their minds about what they wanted. She also struggled with being her own best self-advocate, and many doctoral students struggle with this, or graduate students overall. We worked on her schedule again, created a plan, also created strategies to hold her committee accountable, and worked on her being her own best self-advocate by speaking up for herself and asking for what she needed. And she is now Dr. Nicole Smith. This is the cycle of my Accelerate Your Doctorate method that I use with my private clients. If you want to successfully navigate and accelerate your doctoral program, you need to follow this cycle consistently, because missing just one part will destabilize your doctoral process and or your momentum. So there are 4 parts. They are not consecutive. The first 3 are cyclical until you get to the last stage. Here is the game plan, right? Today, we're going to cover and work on the first part, an audit, specifically the first 2, audit and time management. Audit, we're going to talk about your daily schedule, how to skim the fat, how to designate specific hours for your work, and address time management issues and learn strategies on productivity and protecting your time. Now, we won't get to the implementation stage of audit, but that you can learn that also at a later time. There's also strategize, which includes the productivity plan and forecasting. That just means working on the next phase of your program while you are in your current one. And then accelerate. That is in terms of speed and mindset, because you begin to master all of the strategies and turn into habits the different types of mindset shifts and the way that you can do your program so that you can continue to gain momentum in your program as well. To the doctorate is where we are headed, right? And so as today, as I mentioned, we will do the first 2 parts of the first step, which is audit. Certainly, you are welcome to reach out to me if you are interested in learning more and seeing how I may be able to assist you further. So let's get started. How to prioritize yourself and those you love in your schedule. It is time to put your priorities in order. Re-examine what's important, make the time, put yourself on your calendar first. Let's face it, right? There's a lot going on. Many of us have schedules with 0 wiggle room. They are jammed packed with so much stuff, such as meetings, committee work, writing and research, impromptu visits to the car shop, kids homeschooling, extracurricular activities, you name it, right? There's always something to do. And did I mention Zoom calls? Okay. Many of these things we probably grit our teeth through anyway. But do we have a choice? Is there anything that we can get rid of or say no to? When will we have time for ourselves? Where in our overwhelming schedule do we find time for self-care and spending quality time with our loved ones? When did it be okay to put ourselves last? When did it become the norm to ignore our self-care and well-being? When did it become the thing to do to find time for everything and everyone else in our schedules and not be able to make the time that we need for ourselves and those we love? As my therapist likes to say, when did we become human doings instead of human beings, right? Who taught us that this was the right thing to do? What made this okay? When will we change it, and how do we fix it? At some point in our lives, we learned that to be successful, we must do more, produce more, squeeze in more. More of what, though? Certainly not time for ourselves. Definitely not time for our family, right? Success and family, according to what we see in corporate America and in the academy, should not even be in the same sentence. At least that's the unspoken rule, right? But that rule needs to be broken because it's wrong. It is detrimental to our health and our well-being. It deteriorates relationships, and it's downright disrespectful to ourselves and our loved ones if we abide by it, especially when it comes at our own expense. So this absolutely cannot continue. Do you know what your job or institution will do? God forbid something happens to you. They will conduct another search to fill your position, or they will admit another student to get your tuition and your fees. That's real talk, right? Relegating our self-worth, our health, our families has to stop. We have to stop drinking the Kool-Aid of corrupt thinking regarding our worth. I mean, that's what it boils down to, right? How much are we worth? And I'm not talking about monetarily. I'm talking about value. Why do we allow corporations, institutions, and our very selves to lower, debase, or negate our self-worth and our value? It's something to truly think about. I want you to know that it doesn't have to be this way. We can resist this way of thinking. We do have the time to do whatever we choose. New York Times bestseller, selling author Gay Hendricks, in his book, The Big Leap, says, "You're where time comes from." Embrace and embody this truth, and you can experience a quantum jump in productivity and free time. Once you understand that you're where time comes from, you have the power to make as much of it as you want. You're the boss. Basically, what Hendricks is saying, and what I want you to embrace, is that we own time. There is no such thing as never having time or never having enough time. We get to choose what we will do with the time that we have. And I'm here to tell you that it is time to begin prioritizing yourself and those you love and your health in your schedule. It is time to re-examine what's important, put your priorities in order, and make the time for yourself and those you love on your calendar. Why? Because it's doable. It definitely can be done. We just have to be willing to do it. You have to break old habits and crush old mindsets. Now, you may be thinking, there's absolutely no way that I can do this. I've got no time right now. There's no room to fit anything else in. But let me ask you something. What's more important, your work or your well-being and your family? Don't even say, well, I need my job to take care of my family. Or, if you're a student, that you got to work consistently in order to earn your degree. Because if you keep going the way you are, and if your family have already told you, hey, you put your work before me, then the chances increase that you'll eventually won't have that family. And I'm talking from experience, from seeing a lot of colleagues, especially those within this guild, who unfortunately have ruined relationships or lost relationships by not prioritizing what's important. Don't let that be you. This is not judgment. I'm not pointing fingers. I'm just stating facts. Do what is important for you, your health, and your family, okay? Because you and they are worth it. It's time to redefine what success looks like. Success to me means that I put the needs of myself and my family first, and then handle what was required of me for my business or for the institution. Success to me means that when something else needs to get squeezed into my calendar, my go-to for the things to get knocked off is not me or my family, but rather other work-related things. Some things have to become secondary. I am but one person, right? If you are requiring me to do something additional for work, then something else needs to shift. I use this mindset as a professor as well. We need to be our own best self-advocate. Now, let's talk about how to audit your daily schedule. What stays? What goes? Make the decision. Skim the fat. If you have your daily schedule with you, I want you to look at it. If you don't, think about it. It's okay. What does it look like? Is it jam-packed with things that you don't even want to do? Do you have time for yourself on your calendar, your family, your friends? What is on your calendar that you've said yes to, that you know you should have said no to? Is it too late to change your answer? If you are a student, do you have enough time to study? Have you incorporated meetings with your advisor? If you are bivocational, right, do you have time to do both vocations? Now, how many of you have speaking engagements on your calendar? And which ones have nothing to do with your graduate work? I know I'm pulling on some coattails here. What things are on your schedule that you can remove? What are things that are on your schedule that should be replaced with time for yourself? and your family. For many, this task is very stressful, but you have to ask yourself the tough questions, right? What criteria, okay, do you use to audit your schedule? It's relative to the person and their life circumstances. So some folk are single, right? You don't have to consider making time for others who may live with you. Others have children or significant others who may have their own schedules that they need to account for or incorporate into their own. Still, others have aging parents for whom they care. Auditing your schedule necessitates asking yourself the questions such as, what is important in my life? And how much time do I want to give to them or it? If you are having difficulty auditing your schedule or skimming the fat, ask yourself why. Who are you trying to impress if you are? Who do you not want to disappoint? If you are allowing others to take away time that you should dedicate to yourself and your family or your studies, why are you doing that? And when you consider your well-being and the health of your relationships, is auditing your schedule really that hard? For some, it is hard to audit or make changes to your schedule because they classified all of their tasks as ministry. Yep, ministry. A single word that carries a lot of weight. One word that screams God protected and blasphemy, right? When we consider to make any changes to it. Now, I am definitely not about to go any deeper than that, but I will leave you with this piece of advice from one of my mentors. All ministry is good, but if it isn't what God is calling you to do, it's busy work. All ministry is good, but if it isn't what God is calling you to do, it's busy work. Now, for me, I'm an ordained minister, but when I was going through my doctoral program, I was also going through candidacy. And I was also very active in my home church. But my mentor said, you know what? Because of what you want to do, which I needed my doctorate for, my doctorate became my ministry. So I weaned myself off of all of my activities, but also put a hard pause on some things. And then I returned to them after I earned my doctorate. That's a choice that I made for myself, and I'm so grateful for that. But you have to make the right choice or decisions for yourself. For others, it's hard to audit the schedules because of their very definition of success. What does success mean to you? What does it look like? Most often, the answer to that question can be found by simply looking at your calendars. If we were to look at yours right now, what would they say success means to you? What takes up most of your time and why? If it's work, but your family suffers because of it, are there any adjustments that you can make? Right? It's important to consider what's at stake. The best way to audit your schedule is simply to make the decision to do so. Weigh the cost of that which takes up your time. Is what fills up your calendar bringing you joy and fulfillment or bringing you down? Is it enhancing the way you want to live or deteriorating your health? Is it nourishing your commitment to your family or feeding your family's resentment towards you? Have a care. The reason why I decided to do this webinar is because I've witnessed too many relationships end, as I've mentioned, spoken to too many colleagues and graduate students that admit to taking high blood pressure pills. I know I'm saying this again, but it is important. They're taking them in their early 30s and 40s. A couple have had strokes. Several have developed ulcers. Some experience hair loss due to stress. Many suffer from insomnia. Need I go on? We only have one life to live, and it's precious. You will not be in your doctoral program forever, right? Make the decision now, right now, that you will do better in terms of your schedule, not just for you, but for those that you love. For those of you who want to make the much needed changes to your schedule, but for some reason you just need permission to do so, hear me and hear me well. Permission granted. When it comes to auditing your schedule, I want you to think about the life you are living now and compare it to the life that you want to live. You get to decide which one you will live. Okay, so we've talked about re-examining what's important, putting your priorities in order, making time for ourselves and our loved ones, and auditing our schedules. Now let's move on to the how. How to prioritize tasks. You got too many things to do. You don't know where everything fits. You don't know what to do first. Learn what questions to ask to determine the order of precedence. Okay, a dear friend of mine, a colleague, New Testament scholar, Dr. Jennifer Kalin, once said to me, "We all got a lot of balls in the air. Just don't drop the glass ones." That one hit different for me because I'm like, okay, which ones are the glass balls? And for me, it is my health and my family and my loved ones, right? I'll put it out there right now that I do not believe in a work-life balance. I believe it's a myth. It is unattainable, at least for me and a lot of people that I've spoken with. Also, for me, as soon as my work becomes balanced or more than my life, something's wrong. There's a problem. Therefore, instead of a work-life balance, I focus on prioritization. Family first, work second. And what works for me may not work for you, and that's okay. Everyone's life, like I said, is different, so don't compare yourself to other people. What I want you to take from this, however, is that if you prioritize instead of trying to maintain a work-life balance, you will find your level of stress will decrease. You aren't constantly failing as you attempt to balance the scale of life and work because it's constantly toppling over from one thing to the other, causing frustration, resentment, imposter syndrome, right? Because you can't do it all. Hopefully you get my point. Here's the thing. Most people's schedules, right, are full of work or school-related things. Taking care of themselves and spending time with those they love aren't even on it. They get squeezed in during the off times. Or as I mentioned earlier, if time for self-care or family is on the calendar, they are most likely the very first things that gets bumped off when you need more time for work or for school. You might have even written things in your calendar for yourself, your self-care and all of that in pencil, right? No, self-care and family are always written in pen and are immovable meetings. Your job, your school, they don't have a copy of your detailed schedule. And the last time I checked, you were grown, right? So why is it hard to simply say, no, that time does not work for me? Or I have a previous engagement or an appointment, or simply I am unavailable, right? Now, trust me, I understand the pressure to commit. I understand the pressure to say yes, right? That is why, until my mindset was strong and secure, I created a fail-safe measure. For example, when people tend to keep their schedules on their phones, right? So when a date or a time is thrown out, hashtag faculty meetings, right? Folk expect quick responses. What I did was tell them that I don't keep my calendar on my phone, so I'll need to get back to you. At the time, I didn't. It wasn't a lie, I didn't. But I also needed time to check my calendar to make sure my family didn't have anything already on the schedule. And I also wanted to make sure I wasn't putting too much on myself in any given week. I did what I had to do to make sure I took care of me. You need to find a way not to succumb to the pressure to immediately commit to something on your calendar. Many of you right now are probably shaking your head saying this is impossible again, right, to do in my doctoral program or in the academy, but it's possible. You just got to want it. Really, really want it. It may have started off as resistance for me, right? Being overly stressed and overwhelmed, feeling like my back is against the wall and everybody wanted a piece of me and I couldn't breathe and I was panting my way through life and through my profession, but I got there. And with the help of my therapist, I'm a big advocate for mental health. Get one if you need one. I will say right now, getting therapy does not mean that you are weak, but that you want to remain strong. With all of that help and a change in mindset, I made some life-changing decisions and strategies, and I did it. I've been teaching so many others to do the same thing as well, and we are better for it, which is why I signed up to do this complimentary webinar for you all today, because it's important, right? Okay, so how do you fix your schedule, your daily schedule? So that you can make time for you and your loved ones, you start from scratch. You start from scratch. Clean the slate. I like to use a prioritization calendar. I don't know if you can see this, but this is a good one from Amazon. It's called Schedule Magic. Yesterday I checked the price. It was only $12 and you get, it's like a whole tab. You can peel some off and do it weekly. The reason why I like it is because on the left side, you write your whole list of to-dos, and then there's also a section to prioritize. So you can put the last thing you write might be the first thing you do. So you put a number 1 there and you can do it that way. But you can also put it in the set time blocks, and we'll get there. If you don't have a prioritization calendar, that is fine. Just get a blank piece of paper, 7 columns, and for the days of the week. Then what you want to do is write in the times. Begin with the time that you wake up and end with the time that your day ends. I personally like to use hourly time blocks, but you may prefer to do half an hour increments. It's up to you how you want to schedule your day. Now, I have some clients who say, I don't want to work weekends. And that's fine too. You can create that schedule if you want. It can be done. I say it because I did it. During my doctoral program, I did not have weekends because I only had Monday through Friday childcare hours. Got a baby, okay? Some change their schedules on the weekends to have a later wake up time and incorporate more family time. Again, do what works best for you. After you write in these times, I want you to fill in your morning routine. If you have one, do you meditate, work out, do yoga, or is it simply wake up, get dressed, eat, and get ready for the day? That goes on your schedule next. For most, this is where self-care fits in, but if you do yours in the evening, that's fine. Just select the time block that you need and write it in. Block it off. As I talk about these schedules and how you block off time, don't just leave it on the paper. Put it on your iPhone or wherever you keep your phone and block off those times in your calendar so that when you get that invitation, it doesn't look like a free spot. But you also have to be realistic and specific and detailed in your schedule. So for example, if you wake up at 6, right, and you finish working out by 8, there is absolutely no way that you are going to begin working at 8:30 if you still need to shower, dress, and then travel to work. So be realistic. The next thing you do is put times for you and your family on your calendar. Speak with your loved ones, right? Many of us are working from home due to the pandemic. You never know. You might want to have a movie night or Zoom happy hours with friends. Get your hair and nails done, whatever it is, put that time on your calendar. It's important to note here that also when you designate time for yourself, you do not have to fill it up with something. You might simply want to sit down and breathe. Just time to be, and that's okay, all right? Now, certainly you don't want to or you can't fill up your calendar with all fun, life-giving things, right? With no room to do your work. We all have to make a living. You all have to do your work, earn your degree, do your profession. However, the point is to prioritize what's important first and put that on your calendar. These things are to be protected, not only by other people, but by you. No one can make you give up time for yourself and your family. It's you who do it. It's you who will bump, shift, or erase those times off of your calendar. No one knows what's on your calendar unless you tell them. Okay, next, add in your work. If you are a student, ask yourself what's due first. That's DUE. What work has the highest percentage of your grade, right? You may want to spend additional time on this. I always tell my clients to give themselves a deadline about a week or so before your institutional deadline. It's always great to have that buffer. There are also professors who will read and make comments on your work if you submit it early, right? Return it back to you as long as you submit it by the given deadline. So take advantage of that. These strategies also work for your job. What's due first and how much time do I need to get it done? It is important that you audit your schedule first, start with a clean slate and add things on according to what's most important to you before You add in other things. Why? Because all you're going to do is wind up putting things back on your calendar that don't need to be there. The point is to increase the time you have for yourself and your loved ones, and then also make sure you have time for your work. And yes, you can increase productivity in less time, and I'm going to get there. The point is not to completely fill your calendar so that you feel successful, right? Or that so that you can be viewed that way by your peers or your colleagues. Being or seeming to be overworked or super busy or overly active is not sexy at all, people. You know that. True success is success that is worthy of fawning over is that which shows that you're taking care of yourself and still being productive. Now, let me show you how to prioritize your task and how that can be reflective of that. How to maintain and protect your schedule. Set boundaries. Learn what can be rescheduled and what cannot. Make others, including yourself, respect your time. Avoid the pressure of saying yes and embrace the power of saying no. As I've mentioned, we own time, right? We all get 24 hours to a day. It's up to us to decide what we will do with the time that we have. We have to protect that time because if we don't, who will, right? Who will? We have to protect it and make others do the same thing. Create your boundaries and stand firm. Again, it is us who give away our time, who allow others to impinge on our time. So what is your knee-jerk reaction when someone asks you or demands of your time or asks you to do something? Do you struggle with being your own best self advocate? Is it difficult to speak up for yourself? Figure out why and work on that. One of the main ways to protect your time and make others respect it is to say no. And no is a full sentence. How many of you have problems saying no? You have to know the importance of saying no and be intentional about it. Decide that your well-being and time with your family are what is important, right? If you are constantly shifting or removing yourself off your calendar, if you always make yourself available, if you find yourself frequently saying, I had something scheduled during that time, but if you always break under the pressure of the gaze, right? That's when people ask you, to do something and they wait in expectation, daring you to say no, right? You know those people, right? If you always break, that is exactly what folk are going to expect from you. A resounding yes. Then others will think that whatever they have to ask of you is more important than what you have already designated as important for yourself. Don't allow others to. Learn how to avoid the pressure of saying yes and embrace the power of saying no. If you feel bad for saying no, do what I do. Say no, but then refer someone who can do it. Preferably someone who is equally qualified to do the work, but who wouldn't normally get the opportunity or the invitation, such as a minoritized scholar. Give someone else the opportunity. Another way to look at it is that if you say no, then that's another opportunity. You're saying yes to yourself or something else that you need to be doing. It is not selfish. It is not wrong. It is beautiful. It is offering yourself grace. It is the way things should be. So be conscious of your time, respect it, allow and make others respect it as well, create boundaries and stand firm. So let's move on to how to increase productivity in less time. I know this is what many of you signed up for, right? Maximize the time you have. Set goals and deadlines. Get more work done in shorter time frames. Organize tasks in designated time blocks. Breathe easy. This is what I teach my private clients to do. Yes, it is possible. In fact, it's quite simple, really. You can maximize the time you have by first, as I mentioned, protecting your time. Make sure you don't fall prey to distractions and know what they are and avoid them. So if it's social media, turn off all of your alerts and your pop-ups on your computer. If it's TV, don't work near a remote. And if it's sleeping, get out of the bed and go to your desk. But the strategy that I want to share is that a commitment to your goals plus designated time blocks equals maximize time, and increase productivity. When you have goals and or deadlines to which you are committed, and you designate blocks of time to complete them, you are more likely to complete them, not only within that set amount of time, but also with better quality. Commitment is the key. When you are committed to a goal, you are more likely to achieve it. And when you view a deadline as a firm one, you are more likely to finish that task in that designated time. But you got to think that way. Once you've gotten it into your mind that this deadline is firm, that no extensions are going to be granted, then you will protect that designated time block, right? And you'll begin to move differently, make different decisions, think quicker. For example, you'll be quicker to say no to anything that will prevent you from meeting that deadline. It'll be harder for you to procrastinate, harder for you to get sucked into what a lot of you get sucked into, those research rabbit holes, right? Your time is of essence. It will be much difficult for you to go on tangents. Why? Because you are committed to the deadline you've set. And if you don't set goals, if you don't set deadlines, and you view them as that which cannot be extended, then increasing productivity in less time won't work. You gotta have a goal and be committed to it and set deadlines in order for this to work. In terms of your daily schedule, in order to establish the appropriate time frames for you to do your work, you gotta ask yourself a few questions. When do you do your best critical thinking? How long can you work before you need a break? 2 hours, 3 hours? How is the rest of your schedule set up? Once you know your answers to this, then you can designate the hours that you need to do your work. So for example, if you work best in the morning, you may designate the hours of 8 to 10 on Monday for your graduate work, followed by a 30-minute break, right? So now we're at 10:30. You may then return for another 2 hours from 10:30 to 12:30 to do more work, followed by lunch. You need to decide what works best for you, and then fill in the rest of your schedule each day of the week that way. You should already have time designated for self-care and your family on there, right? Remember, they go on your calendar first. It is imperative that you are specific when you designate hours to do your work, whether it's for school or for your job. It is not enough to simply say, I'll just give it 2 hours on Monday. Because you all know good and well that on Monday, those 2 hours are going to fly by and it will not get done, right? Because number one, you're not able to protect that time. Number two, because it's not on your schedule. You did not block off those 2 hours on your schedule so that when someone says, hey, can you do this? And you check your schedule. Oh, no, I can't. Always be specific. Designate those times and put it on your calendar and block it off. Right? When you block off these times, when you know that, okay, today's Sunday, Monday, I'm doing it from 10 to 12, and then from 1 to 3, it signals to your brain it's time to do the work. It is time to focus. You are more likely to avoid distractions, and you will increase productivity in less time because of it. From here, you can create a customized strategic action plan, right? That's simply when you take your schedule with the designated time blocks and you take the work that you have to get done, break up larger tasks into smaller ones and designate them to those time blocks, right? I'm not going to get into it in this particular webinar, but because that's the next step in terms of my Accelerate Your Doctorate method, but you get the point, right? Again, if you need help with that, I'd love to talk with you. That's not a problem. But once you've audited your schedule, you've designated the specific work hours, you've protected that time, you're focusing on the task at hand because you're avoiding distractions, guess what happens? You get your work done. You increase your productivity in less time. And if you estimate, if your estimate of how long your task is going to take is off, that's okay. All you have to do is look at your schedule for the next designated block of time and do your work then. It does not mean that you now have to cancel plans with your friends that you had later on that day. It does not mean that you're a failure. It does not mean that you are not equipped to handle the rigors of academic life. The work will always be there. I'm sure if you think about your program or your profession right now, there's always going to be work to do, right? The point that I'm making is that you want to make sure that you are here to do it. So take care of yourself. Go for that walk. Move forward with the plans with your friends. Then return to the work at your next designated time block, which could be later on that evening or the next day. Take care of you. I cannot say that enough. And I am well aware that I'm repeating a lot of things a lot, but I want you to internalize them. Creating a daily schedule with designated time blocks is not about rigidity. It's about creating and being committed to a schedule where you can get your work done as well as enjoy your life. This is how you increase productivity in less time and get your life back. Now let's talk about how to embrace a new mindset shift. You can live your life to the fullest while being successful in your program and your career. You do not have to kill yourself in the process. Your health and your well-being are important. It is your right. It's your right to decide what will take priority in your life. So I've been talking about embracing a new mindset shift throughout this entire webinar. Everything that I've mentioned lends itself to this new frame of mind. This new way of knowing that we own time, that we and those we love are important, and that this should be reflected in our daily schedules, that we get to choose what success looks like, that we can get our lives back and be more productive at the same time, that we don't have to put our lives on hold because of our education and our career, that we don't have to feel guilty for making time for ourselves in our schedules, right? It's our God-given right to put ourselves and those we love first. You know what we have to do? Just decide to do it. That's the how. That's the how. As the saying goes, ain't nothing to it but to do it, right? Commit to your breakthrough, which really is what it is. You can live your life to the fullest while being successful in your program and your career. To circle back, right? Fitzgerald from Scandal, he may not be offering us $1 million for a competition to see how productive we can be while also living and enjoying our lives. But if we adopt the characteristics of Portia, the producer, instead of Patricia, the pretender, we can definitely consider ourselves winners. This is the game plan. My clients, like Portia, the producer, follow this game plan. The reason why Patricia, the pretender, and many other graduate students aren't performers is because they don't have this game plan. And my clients get results. Here's the thing. Today, we talked about audit. Actually, just the first two parts, audit and time management, right? We didn't even get to implementation. However, if you want to accelerate your doctorate, right? If you want to make sure that you maintain your momentum in terms of speed and mindset, you want to be able to do all of these other things as well. Do you know how to strategize, how to create a productivity plan, how to forecast your next steps in the program, how to maintain and gain momentum, and how to master time management and other doctoral strategies? Well, this is how you know if you need help. Because after this webinar, you're still going to feel like you need help managing your time. You know your productivity is low and you are still at a loss of what to do. You know you will procrastinate without accountability, although you have good intentions. You are concerned that after this webinar, you are going to go right back to where you started, falling behind and being unproductive. I am not putting this on you. I'm just stating some things that may occur. You lack clarity and direction. You just don't know what to do or how to do it. If when this webinar is over, you're going to go back to your desk and still struggle, then you need to be on my calendar, okay? Here are some client results. I know you're not going to be able to read all of them, but you may be familiar with some of these faces. I've had the pleasure of working with these future doctors. Some of them are already minted by now. If you want these kind of results, I do have something that can help you. There are 3 ways that you can work with me: private coaching, my Accelerate Your Doctorate group mentoring program that just launched this month, and also a 90-minute strategic action plan intensive. The best way to know which program that works for you is to have a chat, to get on my calendar. And here's how you do that. Basically, you apply for a call. Isn't that cool how I got that scrolling? Just your name, email, your institution, and all of that. That's the application. After a few questions, I will approve or deny your application. Do not pre-qualify yourself because you don't know what I'm looking for or what the program entails. I would love to speak with you to determine, to hear more about you and your program, hear what your goals are, what you might be struggling with, and to see if and how I can help you. And I'll tell you that only if it's in alignment with what you need. And if not, I will tell you that too. Okay. I have a few slots on my calendar this week or the next 2 weeks if you would like to do that. I welcome a conversation with you. Simply email me here at drsmith@chaneltsmithconsulting.com, or you can message me. I am all over social media: Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Clubhouse, whatever, but that is my handle. Let's normalize getting you the help you need. There is always a return on investment when you invest in yourself. Inspiration is amazing, right? But the question to ask yourself is, do I need help? If you haven't been able to do this on your own, then you do. It's time to invest in ongoing mentoring and accountability and training. Now, to be sure, I am not the expert for everyone. I am going to give you all the tools that you need, but if you are not coachable, if you are unwilling to implement, it is not for you. But if you think you can hit your goal, and if I have what you need, I invite you to contact me. I have thoroughly enjoyed my time with you. My name is Dr. Chanel T. Smith, your favorite doctoral expert. I help doctoral students graduate faster so that they can become doctors sooner. It is my passion. I love what I do, and I am great at it. And with all of that said, who has questions? And now I need water. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Dr. Smith. We do have a question in the Q&A. Someone asked, my question has to do with daily scheduling in our current COVID world. I have a Monday through Friday childcare, but because of closures for COVID and stringent parameters around kids returning after illness, we've missed almost as much childcare as we've had in the past 6 weeks. How do you deal with curveballs or torpedoes to your daily schedules?
Yeah, I'm actually going to reread that because I was trying to pull it up as you were reading it. So daily scheduling and your current COVID world. Monday through Friday childcare because of closures, stringent parameters around kids returning after illness. Okay. How do you deal with curveballs or torpedoes to your daily schedule? Again, it is not about rigidity, right? I know, listen, you probably heard the alarm go off. My son just came home and the other one comes home later, right? Our days, especially when we're not just dealing with ourselves, it's always up in the air. I still have my schedule. I have my designated time blocks of when I need to get work done, but sometimes it doesn't work out. So number one, what I do is go to the next scheduled designated time block, but I also call in reinforcements, right? I have a significant other, my husband, who can also help out, right? It's something as simple as, hey, I know we normally do homework with the kids from 3 to 5, but you mind taking over for today just so I can get some work done, right? Or I have some clients who actually have to, I know you probably don't have infants, but when they say sleep when your infant is sleeping, sometimes you can't do that. You have to work when they are sleeping, right? I also had a mentor who woke up at 4:30 in the morning. I'm not about that life. I can't do it, but that's what they did, right? Before the rest of the world woke up so they can do their work. So you have to ask yourself those questions, right? Is there anyone that you can call in for support? Is there anyone, Mary, that can help you in terms of getting your work done? I also have a client who literally took some like colored tape and made a box for her child, her imaginary desk in front of her own. And they pretended like both of them were working. They were both at work. And so her toddler, she gave her a paper, and maybe their leapfrog, that computer would have you, and they were both working. Now, of course, you may not be able to do as much critical thinking as you need, but hopefully that'll drive your imagination as to some ways that you can help get some work done, right, in the midst of all of this. But I definitely understand where you're coming from. Many of my clients now are coming because of COVID, right? Because even in addition to the schedules, it's like, in the grand scheme of things, my doctoral program is like a negative factor, right? How can I maintain my momentum? How can I do that? So, I wish you the best of luck in terms of doing that. If you have any questions, I welcome you to direct message me or email me, and we can try to brainstorm some things together. But thank you for your question. You're welcome. Any other questions?
I want to also encourage everyone to fill out the poll. You should have seen a poll as you came into the room. Please complete that poll for us.
Well, this has been fun. Is there another question that came up, or is that, no, that was Mary's, thank you. Okay. Okay, do you think it's ever okay to let some self-care go temporarily? Like if you have a big project or deadline going on and commit to coming back to a regular schedule? Honestly, anonymous attendee, for me, no. For me, no. But that's something that you're gonna have to answer yourself. Because again, the way that I do things, if I know I have a big project that's going on, I would have already put the deadline in my calendar as soon as I know what the project is and work backwards to make sure that I not only have a buffer from the deadline in case life happens and I need more time, but also work backwards in terms of how many hours I have per day to do my work. And then I've broken down that big project into smaller tasks, and I've designated those tasks to certain time blocks. And so I know that I can get the work done, which means my self-care never, ever leaves, right? Because I work better when I take care of myself. And I used to do that. This no shade, I am not judging anyone who does do that. If they're able to come back, fine, but that's not how I'm wired, right? So when I used to let go of my self-care, it took forever for me to come back. And then I also was overly stressed because I wasn't taking care of myself, because I wasn't taking a minute to just be or to go for a walk. And so all of the work kind of had a negative effect on my person. And also the lack of patience for my family, right? So that is a question that you're going to have to ask yourself. But personally, for me, I never forego self-care in order to meet a deadline, which is also a reason why I'm also adamant of creating a plan to make sure that I'm able to execute that project. And if I can't within the time frame that that request is made, then if I'm in a position to say no, I say no. I hope that helps. Okay. Hello, Kenya. How do you decide how long you need to complete an assignment, or especially writing papers? Also, how do you decide what are the best time blocks to focus? I get this question a lot. Every time I do this webinar or talk to a client, they're like, well, how much time do I need? It depends on you, right? So for example, completing an assignment, say you have to write a paper. So Kenya, I would ask you, how many sources do you need? Some professors, especially if it's for a chapter or for a comp, they give you have to do, a list or a number of books you need to read. So not only how many books do you need to read or articles, how long does it take you to read? Do you know how to read quickly and take strategic notes? If not, it's going to take you a longer time. Are you the type of person who, well, I teach my clients to read and take notes at the same time, and I teach them how to strategize it so that critical analysis is easier. Or do you read, take marginal notations on the article or in the book, and then you have to transfer those notes into your computer, and then you look at your notes in order to start writing your assignment? It all depends on your flow. How do you do your work? How long does it take for you to read? Are you one who can take notes and write your paper at the same time? And with regards to how do you decide what are the best time blocks to focus, you know how your body is made up, right? I'll use myself as an example. I'm a morning person. Around 8 o'clock, I'm like, my brain is like shutting down. So I know that I will not do my best work at that hour. So I arrange my schedule to make sure that I have time in the morning or in the early afternoon to do that work. So you have to look at your schedule, right? When do you do your best critical thinking? When are you most awake? When do you have the most energy? When do you have the most focus, right? But then also thinking of your self-care and your family. Is it during the time your kids are home, if you do have a family, right? I'm just making assumptions here. But those are questions you have to ask yourself. And also, how long can you work before you need a break? If you're trying to do 3-4 hour blocks and then you're finding yourself reading the same sentence over and over, it's time for a break. You always want to make sure that your time blocks are long enough that you are always at your optimum. Otherwise, cut it short and then take a break and then come back. I hope that helps. Thanks for your question. Well, I don't know if anyone else is going to have a question, but I just want you all to know that if no one has told you today, you are brilliant, whether you are a master's student, a doctoral student, faculty, dean, president, whatever. Know that you are worth it. Know that you can do this, right? You can do this. If you're a master's student or a doctoral student and you are suffering from imposter syndrome, I want you to know that if you didn't have what it takes to get into your program, you wouldn't have gotten admitted. So the same thing that you have to get you into the program will get you out of it. So just always stay encouraged. Again, just a reminder for those of you who are considering doctoral work, or you are in a doctoral program and you're on Facebook, join the Doctoral Tribe. Just search the Doctoral Tribe. We'd love to have you. There's some free trainings on there as well. You can also direct message me if you would like to schedule a call with me to see if and how I can help you. I would love to do that.
Any other questions?
I think that's, oh no, there's one. Let me pull it up. Oh, good. I'm glad you joined the Facebook. You are so welcome. I love doing this stuff. I love doing this stuff. So that's why I do it full time now. So I'm glad you're joining. I think that's all she wrote.
Okay. Well, in that case, if there are no other questions, I want to thank you again, Dr. Smith, for this amazing webinar. It was really great. And I want to thank each and every one of you for coming. The recording for this webinar will be available shortly on the SBL webinars page. You can also find other informative webinars on that page. And should you have any questions about membership or access to SBL webinars or SBL web resources, please feel free to email me at sbl-site.org. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a great day.
Bye. Thank you.